we will pass the microphone for you to say jambo and tell us maybe a message from your countries on grain trade.
Good morning, all of you. Honorable Chief Guest Aden Mohamed, Cabinet Secretary, East African Community and Regional Development, Executive Director, Eastern Africa Grain Council, Mr. Gerald Masila, Ambassadors, High Commissioners present, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. I would like to convey my sincere appreciation to the Executive Director, GC, Mr. Masila, for inviting me in this important event. Also, I would like to recognize the good work that has been done by the organization responsible for the success of this 9th Grain Trade Summit. As the main theme of this summit, revitalizing resilience in grain value chain, concern, no sector in the economy can be sustainably profitable and internationally competitive unless there is an efficient link supply chain. Tanzania, as the supporter and the stakeholder in this summit, we believe through this summit, it will bring hope and the promising prospects of grain sector across Africa. I admit we have excellent strategy in the grain sector and the agribusiness, but due to this pandemic and the adoption of new normal, some extra reform of policies, new initiative must be put in place. I am very, very happy that in this summit, we will have an opportunity to discuss issue of aflatoxin in maize because it has brought a very big challenge in our grain trade. Lastly, I would like to comment that Tanzania is ready for new norms to guarantee future prospect in grain. We have enough grain, especially maize. All we need is to link supply chain and develop suitable policies in the grain industry. Thanks a lot, guest of honor. Asante sana.
Another clap for our neighbors in Tanzania. They have said they have the grain and the borders are open. Thank you very much. Let's listen to the next greetings from our other neighbor.
Good morning, delegates. Honorable Aden Mohamed, who is our chief guest, CS for East Africa Community and Regional Development of Kenya. Mr. Gerald Makila, Executive Director for EAGC, our Vice Chair, all protocols observed. I'm deeply honored to be invited to make my remarks during this very important event, the 9th African Summit with the theme, The Future of Grain Trade in Africa, Revitalizing Resilience in Grain Value Chains. Let me thank the organizers for a well-planned and executed event, whose success I can only look forward to with great anticipation. Before I go further, I would like to take this opportunity. This
Recording in progress.
Also quite apt, given the current COVID-19 pandemic. A consideration of the future in any relationship, any engagement is an indication that one looks for continuity, mostly because there are mutually shared benefits to such a relationship. As such, continued grain trade benefits both the exporter and the receiver. On the other hand, resilience speaks to determination to continue on a specific path despite the existence of challenges, especially those externally induced. Resilience is about the resolve to grow from strength to strength, no matter what the odds are, including such devastating developments like the COVID-19. When all is said and done, human endeavor, human interaction, including trade in grains, has a future and will survive emerging challenges due to the combined efforts of the private sector, civil society, international organizations, and governments. I will not do justice in my capacity as Malawi's envoy to Kenya, which itself is in East Africa, if I do not mention that Kenya and Tanzania are active trading partners with Malawi. Despite this situation in the grain sector, while Malawian produced groundnuts and beans are known to be found in Kenya, that happens based on informal arrangements. In this regard, through its national export strategy, Malawi is working on a structured market in order to deal with this informal trade. In addition, my mission is continually engaged at a bilateral level over the same issue for the mutual benefit of the two countries. As I conclude, let me mention that the Malawi government is very keen to support the development of the grain agribusiness from both the production and export endpoints. Farmers are receiving access to specialized extension and marketing services. The government has entered into bilateral agreements with countries in the East for negotiated access of Malawi grains. Malawi has further embarked on a serious drive to improve agricultural investment, especially focusing on value addition and agro-processing in order to move from exporting raw grains to processed products. Finally, Malawi government strongly believes that actions to support the development of the grain agribusiness require concerted efforts in partnership amongst various stakeholders. Malawi places premium on collaboration with the private sector, non-governmental organizations, international organizations, such as the United Nations and development partners. This gathering is meant to shape strategic direction through frank, open, and meaningful exchanges. Perhaps my statement here has contributed to that, but I do not want to take any further of your time. So I thank you most sincerely for your kind attention. Asante sana.
Thank you very much. Malawi giving us groundnuts and a lot more. We also have the Embassy of Russia with us. Please come forward and join us and say jambo. Please come forward. And now we will listen to the next ambassador, and this is from Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe are also part of our fraternity. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Actually, I'm used to talking last as the last country, Zimbabwe, all the time. But today I'm privileged to be among the first ones to speak. Anyway, good morning. The chief guest, the PS, members of the EAGC board, distinguished delegates, my dear colleagues, excellencies here, sitting up here, all protocols observed. I wish to express my appreciation for the invitation to participate for the first time at this very, very, very important event. and for the opportunity to share Zimbabwe's experiences, aspirations pertaining to the value chain of grains for food security and commercial trade, among others. I believe that the issue of holistic management of grains is indeed vital and should be placed at the forefront of global discussions, especially if a lasting solution to poverty and hunger is to be found. I'm really pleased that to hear that recently the EAGC is engaging Zimbabwe in training officials from our central bank and Minister of Agriculture in trade of grain. This year's theme, the future of grain trade in Africa, revitalizing resilience in grain value chains, aptly captures the knowledge gap that exists in Africa and which has led to food insecurity in many countries. While Africa's potential as the breadbasket of the world remains indisputable, especially the productions of grains, our rich soils have more often waste as we concentrate on meaningless wars and other conflict fora that redirect our focus to the main priorities of leaders, such as attaining food security for the population, is very, very crucial. Ladies and gentlemen, just as it is in Zimbabwe, that our staple food is sadza. Here you call it ugali or nzima. Grains are staple foods for most African countries and beyond. With agriculture being the backbone of most of our economies, we do depend mostly on grains for domestic consumptions as well as for commercial purposes. In Zimbabwe, agriculture contributes 17% to the GDP and is the main source of livelihood for the majority of the population. In addition, it feeds directly into the manufacturing sector, with the 7% is also a major contributor to the GDP. Due to the myriad of natural and man-made challenges that Zimbabwean farmers have experienced over the years, the government has put in place several initiatives to combat natural disasters, floods, El Nino effects, pesticides, among others, and ensure continued productions of grains and other agricultural products. Among the initiatives, I think you have heard we have the presidential inputs scheme, which is called Fumvuza. Further, having realized the importance of the mostly overlooked small grains such as millet, barley, rapoko, sorghum, and wild rice, to name a few, my government has embarked on a drive to encourage farmers to revitalize the health and drought-resistant cereals, which has been known as traditional foods, sometimes without a good connotation, because sometimes, like the young population, they don't know about these small grains and the health effects of the positive ones. So this one, my government, they said we need to go back where we used to have, our old people not getting sick because they were eating good food. We should take note that the world market is hungry for these superfoods, which do not only provide energy, but in the case of Zimbabwe, are produced organically. My government is in the process of establishing manufacturing plants designed specifically for value addition and packaging of these essential grains ready for the market. Zimbabwe believes that if properly implemented, the AfCFTA will go a long way in promoting intra-Africa trade of all our commodities, including grain. We have already established the platform through which we can form linkages in this regard, such as our regional bodies. Zimbabwe belongs to both the SADC and COMESA and is ready to embark on mutually beneficial trade in grain through these and other bodies. I believe all of us agree that the experience of receiving grain from Europe, Asia, and Americas as an African country is quite shameful. We are the owners of vast tracts of productive land, some of which is virgin land and therefore capable of producing the nutrient-dense food that our children need, and we remain beggars. We need to come together, work together to ensure that our products, especially grains, are up to global standard as we eliminate aflatoxins. And I had